The Wrong Ride, Mr. Right. Chapter 1. Bad Decisions. Fresh off a brutal breakup, I'd had one too many drinks. The moment I slid into the back seat, I noticed the driver was gorgeous, criminally handsome. Already tipsy, I let myself sink a little deeper into my buzz. When he adjusted the rearview mirror, I caught his eye and felt a thrill run through me. While he focused on the road ahead, I seized my moment. Tilting my phone just right, I snapped a photo that made it look like I was kissing his cheek, then immediately posted it to Instagram. Out with the old, in with the new. New boyfriend alert. When I woke up the next morning, my phone had exploded. My DMs were flooded with messages, asking where I'd found such a stunning man. Staring at my empty bed, completely disoriented, I had only one thought. I wish I knew. What made everything worse was the notification from the rideshare app, a canceled ride, and an irritated message from a driver. I'd apparently stood up. Where are you? Why order a ride if you're not coming? You just wasted my time. Wait, what? If I hadn't gotten into that ride, then whose car did I get into last night? I checked my clothes. Good, still intact. My keys, phone, wallet, all accounted for. My alcohol tolerance was terrible. I vaguely remembered pretending to fall asleep after posting that photo out of guilt, then actually passing out. I had no memory of how I'd gotten home. This was all Trevor's fault. That cheating bastard. I immediately blocked him. My phone buzzed. Madison from work. Riley, where are you? The new editor-in-chief is already here. Crap. I'd completely forgotten about the new boss starting today. After throwing myself together, I rushed out and called another rideshare. On the way, Madison texted again. Oh my God, I just saw the new EIC. He's so hot I could scream. I sent back an eye roll emoji. You sound like you've never seen an attractive man before. Last night's driver, that was what hot looked like. Despite hurrying, I was still late. When I pushed open the conference room door, everyone was already inside. The managing editor had just finished introducing our new editor-in-chief. When I saw his face, I froze completely. Holy shit. That was the rideshare driver from last night. The managing editor spotted me and shot me a look of deep disappointment. Riley, you're late on such an important day? Let me introduce you, this is our new editor-in-chief. Remembering my behavior last night, I wanted to die of embarrassment. Hey, hi there, I managed weakly. Hello, I'm Ashton Pierce. He extended his hand, professional and composed. When the managing editor stepped away to take a call, Ashton leaned in and whispered, You made me look fat in that photo last night. Kill me now. Was there a hole I could crawl into? Chapter 2. Recognition. After the meeting, Madison grabbed my arm. Riley, I just realized, doesn't the new EIC look exactly like the guy in your Instagram post last night? My soul left my body. No, you're seeing things. Don't be ridiculous. Back at my desk, I immediately opened Instagram and deleted the post. The entire day, I was a nervous wreck, barely able to focus on work. Not only was I terrified Madison would figure out my new boyfriend was actually our new boss, but I was shaken by something else. After several trips past the EIC's glass-walled office to the break room, to the bathroom, I'd confirmed it. It was really him, Ashton Pierce. The same Ashton from college. My college crush. Though back then, he'd had a buzz cut. Now his dark hair was styled in a sophisticated side part that made him look like he'd stepped out of GQ. He hadn't worn glasses before either. Now sleek designer frames sat on his perfect nose. 3 years later, he was even more devastating. In college, I'd tried to arrange a meeting through a mutual friend, my version of confessing my feelings. He declined, and I'd been too embarrassed to try again. Some classmates had laughed, saying I was reaching way above my station. But could I help it? Wasn't everyone entitled to dream big? Just then, our company's Slack pinged. The managing editor had added someone new to our workspace. Crayon North. Crayon North. This is Ashton Pierce. Feel free to add me if you need anything. Instantly, every woman in the office scrambled for their phones like it was a Black Friday sale. Madison noticed my hesitation. Wow, the EIC's Slack. Riley, what are you waiting for? I heard he's single. This is like a gift falling into our laps. I tried to look calm while my heart raced. Because I just realized, I already had him on my contacts. He rarely posted anything, so I'd basically forgotten he existed in my phone. And then I remembered before I deleted that new boyfriend photo, Crayon North had liked it. I wanted to evaporate. Chapter 3. Elevator Encounter. Maybe it was fate. Right after my breakup, I'd run into my former crush again. I stayed late to catch up on work. When I finally headed to the elevator, my mind was spinning. Does Ashton even remember me? Just as the elevator doors were closing, someone slipped inside. Ashton. My stomach dropped. He glanced at the buttons, pressed B1 for the parking garage, and didn't even look at me. Of course. He'd completely forgotten I existed. We were on the 30th floor. From the moment those doors closed, the air felt thick with awkwardness. I silently prayed for anyone to get on and break the tension. No one did. By the way, you left something in my car last night, Ashton said suddenly, startling me out of my spiraling thoughts. Huh? What? Why was he bringing up last night? When I saw what he was holding out, my face burned. A small package. Wait, I squinted at the label. Disposable gloves. Just disposable gloves I'd bought for cleaning my apartment. Let me explain, those are literally just cleaning gloves, I stammered, snatching them from his hand. Relief flooded through me even as embarrassment made my face hot. Oh really? I couldn't quite tell what they were, he said, his tone unreadable but something almost playful flickering in his eyes. But I was too flustered to notice. All I wanted was for this elevator to reach the ground floor so I could disappear forever. I shrank into the corner. Ashton seemed to notice my retreat. He glanced at me, then turned back to face the doors. Getting into a stranger's car without checking who it was, that was dangerous. That snapped me out of my embarrassment. I was drunk, I said weakly. You only had 3 drinks. I have a low tolerance. Wait, how do you know I only had 3 drinks? I stared at his back, my legs suddenly weak. You were at the bar? Coincidence, he said simply. Coincidence? Really? If he'd been there, he must have seen me crying over Trevor. Humiliating. Thankfully, the elevator reached the lobby. I tried to make my escape. I should go. But a crowd of people from the second team suddenly surged in, all groaning about having to work late. Instead of escaping, I was pushed directly into Ashton's chest. The package I'd been clutching fell to the floor. The chatter stopped immediately. Everyone stared at me pressed against Ashton's chest, then at the package on the floor. One of my coworkers bent down and picked it up, reading the label. Oh, these are just gloves. The tension broke. People laughed. The elevator continued down, and I wanted to die anyway. Chapter 4. Office Rumors. By the next day, subtle whispers were circulating about me and the new editor-in-chief. Madison leaned over and whispered conspiratorially, Riley, people saw you two in the elevator yesterday. Are you sure there's nothing going on? I couldn't really defend myself. The optics had been terrible. It was completely innocent. I dropped something, that's all. But Madison's knowing smile suggested she didn't quite believe me. I couldn't entirely blame her. Ashton hadn't explained anything either. Still, I couldn't let workplace gossip spiral out of control. When I had to go to his office for a story pitch meeting, I worked up the courage to address it. Mr. Pierce, there are some rumors going around the office. I hesitated. Should we maybe clarify what happened? Under his cool gaze, I managed a weak smile. I don't really care for myself, but it's not good for your reputation. If you as the one being talked about don't care, why should I worry about it? He paused, then shifted seamlessly to business. This story pitch is excellent. Healing heartbreak through food, it taps into what young people are feeling right now. His eyes flickered to me briefly. Was that look pointed? Sometimes our personal struggles inform our best professional work. I'm very pleased with this pitch, Riley. Was that a compliment or acknowledgement of my breakup? Either way, getting my story approved made me happy. I'd never gotten along with the previous EIC. I hadn't expected Ashton to give me this kind of professional validation right away. Chapter 5. The Food Blogger. Back at my desk, I dove into work with renewed energy. I'd actually pitched this food story to the previous editor-in-chief months ago, but she'd shot it down, saying it wasn't sensational enough. Truth was, I had a personal reason for suggesting it. I knew a food blogger. Or rather, I was a fan of a food blogger. He posted videos on TikTok showing his pastry-making process. His creations were stunning, they looked absolutely delicious, the kind of thing that could lift your whole mood. Whenever I felt down, I'd watch his videos. They helped me eat better, feel better. There was something almost meditative about watching those skilled hands transform simple ingredients into art. When I'd been going through a particularly rough patch last year, I'd worked up the nerve to DM him words of encouragement, appreciation for his work. A week later, he'd messaged back a simple, "Thank you." I needed to hear that. We'd occasionally chatted after that, mostly cheering each other up during rough patches, a respectful online friendship between two people who understood creative struggle. Over time, he'd become a viral food influencer, though he'd never shown his face. The mystery only added to his appeal. Now he only posted once a week, but each video garnered hundreds of thousands of views. I rewatched several of his videos, taking notes, then sent him a formal interview request. His response came quickly. I'd be honored. Let's talk. My heart soared. This feature was going to be special. I could feel it. Chapter 6. Unexpected Invitation. I worked straight through to closing time when the managing editor suddenly appeared, telling everyone not to leave the company, had organized a welcome event for Ashton tomorrow night. When I heard the location, my heart sank. The same bar where I'd humiliated myself. No way was I going through that again. I started to make an excuse, but the managing editor cut me off sternly. Everyone must attend. Team building is mandatory. For the sake of my job, I had to sacrifice my dignity. The next evening, I tried to preserve some dignity by positioning myself strategically near the appetizers, doing my best impression of someone very interested in spring rolls. The managing editor was confused. "Riley, why are you being so low-key tonight? You're usually more social. Mingle a bit." "Who? Me? Social butterfly?" "Sir, your memory is very selective." Maybe I imagined it, but when the managing editor said that, Ashton seemed to glance my way with the hint of a smirk. I should never have come, though he didn't have time to be amused for long. This was his welcome party, after all. Our colleagues were enthusiastic, especially the women, who approached with drink after drink. He accepted each one gracefully, making conversation, being charming. He didn't say a word to me the entire night. Thank God, at least I was spared another humiliation. When the party ended, I grabbed my bag to make a quick exit. But the managing editor, also pretty tipsy, called out to me. "Riley, you take Ashton home." "Why me? Couldn't he see I was desperately trying to avoid the man?" "You're the only one who didn't drink. Besides, you two live in the same building." "Wait, Ashton lived in my building? How did I not know this?" The managing editor was already depositing Ashton's weight onto me. He was heavier than he looked, all solid muscle. "Does nobody have any humanity?" "He's not exactly lightweight," I protested as my coworkers filed out with knowing grins. Chapter 7. Tables Turned. Driving Ashton's car with him slouched in the passenger seat, I couldn't help but feel a little triumphant. A few nights ago, he'd driven while I was drunk. What goes around comes around. At a red light, I glanced over at him. God, he was handsome, even more so than in college. That strong jawline, those long lashes casting shadows on his cheeks, that perfect nose. Without thinking too hard about it, I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo of us this time. A normal one, both of us visible, nothing embarrassing. Just documentation of this moment. "You made me look tired in that one," Ashton said, eyes still closed. I nearly dropped my phone. "When did you wake up?" "I was never asleep." He opened his eyes and looked at me with amusement. "Did you really think I'd get that drunk at a work event?" "But you drank so much?" I paced myself, unlike some people who can't handle 3 drinks and end up in strangers' cars. My face burned. "That was one time. Once is enough to be dangerous." His voice softened. "You should be more careful, Riley." The genuine concern in his tone caught me off guard. We drove the rest of the way in silence, but it felt different now, less awkward, more comfortable. When we reached the parking garage, I expected him to just get out and leave. Instead, he walked me to the elevator. "You don't have to. It's late. I'll make sure you get to your floor safely." The elevator ride up was quiet. When we stopped at my floor, I hesitated. "Thank you for the ride," he said. "You're welcome." I stepped out, then turned back. "Ashton?" "Yes?" "About college. I'm sorry if I made things awkward back then, with the trying to meet up and everything." He looked at me for a long moment. "You didn't make anything awkward. I've always regretted not being able to make that meeting." Before I could respond, the elevator doors closed. I stood in the hallway, heart pounding, wondering what he meant. Chapter 8. Trapped. Over the next few days, I threw myself into the food feature. The interview with the mystery blogger went beautifully. He was articulate, passionate about his craft, and generous with insights about using food as emotional therapy. I worked late every night, perfecting the piece. One evening, exhausted but satisfied, I headed to the elevator. Just as the doors were closing, someone slipped inside. Ashton. We'd been professionally cordial all week, but alone together, that awareness crackled between us. He pressed the button for his floor one below mine. From the 30th floor, it was a long ride down. We'd made it to the 22nd floor when the elevator jolted and stopped. The lights flickered, then went out completely. "Ah," I gasped, my chest immediately tightening. "Don't panic. It's just a power issue." Ashton's calm voice came from beside me. I heard him press the emergency button. "Yes, we're stuck in elevator 3, between floors 22 and 21. But I was already panicking. The darkness pressed in. The walls felt like they were closing. My breath came in short gasps. Claustrophobia, an old fear I thought I'd managed. Apparently not. "Riley?" Ashton's voice sharpened with concern. "Are you okay?" I couldn't finish the sentence. Couldn't breathe. I felt his hand find my shoulder in the darkness. "Hey, look at me. Riley, look at me." "Can't see you," I managed. "Then listen to my voice. You're okay. I'm here. Rescue is coming." But his words weren't enough. The panic was a wave crashing over me, pulling me under. I reached out blindly, needing something solid, something real. My hands found his arm, then his chest. "I'm sorry," I gasped. "I just need—" "It's okay." His arms came around me, steady and sure. "I've got you." I pressed my face against his chest, focusing on his heartbeat, his warmth, the rise and fall of his breathing. Slowly, my own breathing began to match his. "That's it," he murmured. "Just breathe." I don't know how long we stood like that. Eventually, emergency lighting flickered on dim, but enough to see. I looked up to find Ashton watching me with such gentle concern that my heart ached. "I have claustrophobia," I admitted quietly. "I thought I had it under control." "You did fine." His hand came up to brush hair from my face. Everyone has something that scares them. "Even you?" His smile was rueful. "Especially me." Before I could ask what he meant, the elevator jolted back to life. We rode down in silence, his arms still around me. When the doors opened, he didn't immediately let go. "Get some rest, Riley," he said softly, and "thank you for trusting me." Chapter 9, New Understanding. The next morning, I found a coffee on my desk with a note in unfamiliar handwriting. "For surviving yesterday, A.P." My heart did something complicated in my chest. Madison spotted it immediately. "Ooh, secret admirer?" "Just a colleague," I said quickly, but I couldn't stop smiling. The healing food feature published that week to incredible response. Our website traffic spiked. Social media engagement went through the roof. The print edition sold out within 2 days. The managing editor called me into his office, grinning. "Riley, outstanding work. We're talking about a promotion, senior editor, pending a 3-month review period, and a 20% raise plus a $50,000 bonus." I nearly fell out of my chair. "The bonus will be in your account by Friday," he continued. "The whole team wants to celebrate. Drinks tonight?" Of course, it was at the same bar. But this time, I didn't care. This was my celebration. When we arrived, my colleagues toasted me enthusiastically. I accepted drinks graciously, staying just tipsy enough to enjoy the attention without losing control. Ashton sat at a table in the corner, watching the celebration with a small smile. After a while, emboldened by success and champagne, I walked over. "Not joining the party?" I asked. "I am. Just from here." He gestured to the seat beside him. "Care to join me?" I sat, suddenly nervous despite my buzz. "You did excellent work on that piece," he said. "The way you connected food to emotional healing, it was thoughtful. Personal. It helped me," I admitted. "After my breakup, watching someone create something beautiful from simple ingredients, it reminded me that I could rebuild too." I admitted. "Is that when you started following the pastry blogger?" I nodded. He probably doesn't remember, but I messaged him once during a really low point. He responded so kindly. It meant more than he knew. Something flickered across Ashton's face, an expression I couldn't quite read. "Riley," he said carefully, "do you remember in college when you tried to set up a meeting through our mutual friend?" My stomach dropped. "Let's not talk about that. I need you to know I wanted to meet you. I had a family emergency that day. When I tried to explain later, you'd already left for your internship." I stared at him. "What?" "I've regretted not trying harder to reach you ever since." My chest felt tight. "Ashton." When my cousin mentioned she needed temporary help at her magazine, I wasn't interested. Until I saw the staff photos from your company retreat. He met my eyes. "I saw you, Riley, and I knew I had to take the job." The bar noise faded to nothing. "You came here for me?" "I came here for a chance to know you, to see if you were the person I remembered." His hand found mine on the table. "You're better." I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only feel the warmth of his hand, the intensity of his gaze. I don't know what to say. "Say you'll have dinner with me. A real one, not a work event." "Yes," I whispered. "Yes." Chapter 10, First Date. Our first official date was the following Saturday. Ashton picked me up at 7, looking devastatingly handsome in dark jeans and a fitted sweater that highlighted his shoulders. "You look beautiful," he said when I opened the door. I'd changed outfits 4 times. "Thank you." He took me to a small Italian restaurant. I'd never heard of the kind of place that didn't need to advertise because everyone who knew about it came back. Over pasta and wine, we talked. Really talked. He told me about studying literature in college, planning to write but getting sidetracked by family obligations. About his mother's illness, her slow decline into Alzheimer's. About finding solace in baking something he could do with his hands while his mind processed grief. "That's when I started the videos," he said. "It was therapeutic. I never expected anyone to watch." My wine glass froze halfway to my lips. "Wait, you're—" He smiled a little embarrassed, a little proud. "Crayon North, the pastry blogger?" But how my mind reeled. "You never showed your face." I wanted the work to speak for itself, and honestly, I was afraid. Afraid that if people knew who I was, they'd judge the food differently. The message I sent you, I said slowly. That day you were thinking of quitting. Was during my mother's worst episode. She didn't recognize me for 3 days straight. His voice roughened. Your message reminded me why I started. That maybe I was helping someone, even if I couldn't help her. Tears pricked my eyes. Ashton, so when you pitched the food healing story, when I realized you wanted to interview me. He laughed softly. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know how without seeming like I'd been deceiving you. You should have told me. I know, I'm telling you now. He reached across the table for my hand. Riley, I haven't felt this way about anyone in a very long time, maybe ever. I need you to know that everything I've done taking this job, renting in your building, it wasn't manipulation. It was hope. Desperate, probably foolish hope that you might feel the same. My heart was so full I could barely speak. I do. God, Ashton, I've had a crush on you since college. Seeing you again, working with you, getting to know the person you've become. I didn't finish the sentence because he leaned across the table and kissed me. Soft and sweet and perfect. When we finally pulled apart, I was breathless. I should also mention, he said, voice rough, my lease actually was up this week. I signed a new one yesterday. You're staying? I'm staying. If that's okay with you. I laughed, giddy and overwhelmed. It's very okay with me. Chapter 11. Moving forward. The next 3 months passed in a blur of happiness. My promotion became official. The food healing series became so popular that we expanded it into a monthly feature. Ashton and I navigated the delicate balance of workplace relationship and personal one. We kept things professional at the office mostly, but everyone knew anyway. Madison cornered me one day with a knowing grin. So you and the boss, huh? We're keeping it professional. Riley, he looks at you like you hung the moon. It's not exactly subtle. I couldn't help smiling. Okay, maybe not that professional. At home, we fell into an easy rhythm. Ashton would come over after work, and we'd cook together, him teaching me techniques, me taste testing everything. Sometimes we'd visit his mother, and I'd see the pain in his eyes when she didn't recognize him, the way he still treated her with such gentle love. Tell me about her, I said one evening, curled against him on my couch. Before she got sick. His arm tightened around me. She was vibrant, funny. She owned a bakery when I was growing up, that's where I learned. She'd let me help on weekends, even when I was too small to reach the counter. She'd be proud of you, of what you've built. I hope so. He kissed the top of my head. I wish you could have known her then. I know her through you, I said softly. Through every dessert you make, every video you post, she's there. He didn't respond, just held me tighter. One Saturday, he invited me to his place, not the rental he'd had in my building, but his real home, the worn mansion on the outskirts of town where his mother lived with full-time care. I want to show you something, he said, leading me upstairs to a bright, immaculate room. The room from his videos. The mounted camera, the pristine workstation, the oven where magic happened. This is where you film, I breathed. This is where I'd like to film our first video together, he corrected. If you're interested. Together? I've been thinking about expanding the channel, showing more of the healing aspect, talking about why food matters, how it connects us. He pulled me close. You're better with words than I am, and you understand the emotional side. We'd make a good team. We already are a good team. Then what do you say? Want to show your face on my mysterious channel? I pretended to consider. Will I have to be in charge of washing dishes? Absolutely. Deal. Chapter 12. Full circle. The video we made together went viral within hours. Mystery pastry blogger reveals face and his inspiration. In it, Ashton made chocolate mousse while I interviewed him, asking the questions I'd prepared months ago, plus new ones that had emerged from knowing him. Why food? Why healing? What kept him going? And at the end, when the mousse was perfect, he turned to the camera. I want to thank someone, he said. Almost a year ago, I received a message from a viewer during the darkest time of my life. She didn't know me, had no reason to care, but she took the time to say my work mattered, that I shouldn't give up. He turned to me, and I realized the camera was catching my reaction. Riley, you saved this channel, but more than that, you reminded me why creating matters, why connection matters, so this one's for you. The camera panned to 2 plates each with a perfect chocolate mousse, one topped with a little red heart. The comments exploded. This is the most romantic thing I've ever seen. I'm not crying, you're crying. Where can I find a man like this? Madison sent me approximately 50 exclamation points, followed by, you're dating the pastry blogger? Even the managing editor sent a congratulatory email, though I suspected he was mostly pleased about the publicity for the magazine. That evening, Ashton and I sat on my couch, reading comments and laughing. I can't believe you did that, I said. You revealed yourself and our relationship in one go. It felt right. He kissed my temple. Besides, I'm tired of hiding. I want everyone to know you're mine. Possessive much? Incredibly, but he was smiling. Is that okay? I snuggled closer. It's very okay. My phone buzzed a text from an unknown number. Riley, this is Victoria Pierce, Ashton's cousin. Thank you for making him happy. He hasn't smiled like this in years. Welcome to the family. I showed Ashton, who groaned. She's already planning the wedding, isn't she? We've been dating 3 months. You don't know my cousin, but he was grinning. Though, would that be so terrible? My heart skipped. Ashton Pierce, are you proposing? Not yet, but I'm thinking about it. He pulled me onto his lap. I'm thinking about a lot of things, like how I want to wake up next to you every morning, how I want to grow the channel with you, how I want to give you everything you've ever dreamed of. I don't need everything, I whispered, just you. You have me. You've had me since college, if I'm honest. I was just too scared to do anything about it. And now I'm terrified and doing it anyway. He kissed me deeply. Because you're worth the fear, Riley. You're worth everything. Chapter 13. Sweet ending. 6 months later, I stood in Ashton's filming room, watching him create an elaborate wedding cake on camera. Not our wedding cake, we weren't quite there yet, but a cake for the final video of our joint healing series. The thing about healing, I said to the camera, is that it's not linear. You don't just wake up one day and everything's fixed. It's a process, sometimes messy, sometimes beautiful. Like making a cake, Ashton added, smoothing frosting with practiced ease. You can't rush it. Each layer needs time to set. Each component needs attention. But when it all comes together, I gestured to the stunning creation taking shape. It's worth the wait. We'd found our rhythm over the past months. The channel had exploded in popularity, not just for the food, but for the honest conversations about heartbreak, healing, and hope. I'd been promoted to executive editor. Ashton had stepped down from his temporary position, focusing full-time on the channel and his mother's care. Victoria had been thrilled. Finally, she'd said, he's doing what he's meant to do. Now we split our time between my apartment and his family home, between the city and the quiet of the suburbs where his mother resided. She still didn't remember us most days, but sometimes rare, precious, sometimes there would be a flicker of recognition, a smile when Ashton brought her chocolate mousse. She knows I'd tell him on the hard days. Somewhere deep down, she knows you love her. As we wrapped filming, Ashton pulled me close, both of us frosted and flour-dusted. I have something for you, he said. If it's another dessert, I'm going to gain 50 pounds. Not a dessert. He pulled out a small velvet box. My heart stopped. Riley Chen, I've loved you since the day you sent that message telling me not to give up. I just didn't know it yet. You've made me braver, happier, better. He opened the box to reveal a stunning vintage ring. Will you marry me? Through tears and laughter, I managed one word, yes. The camera was still rolling. Later, when we posted the video, the internet lost its collective mind. But I barely noticed. I was too busy kissing my fiancé, tasting chocolate and buttercream, and the sweet promise of everything to come. Some things, I'd learned, were worth the wait, worth the fear, worth taking the wrong ride to find Mr. Right. The end.